Alrighty, thanks Megan. I am joined with Greg Remmenga. It's time for some free legal advice, and we're going to touch today on the topic of workman's comp, and more specifically, what happens right after the injury.
Well, obviously, if it's an emergency, you should go to the emergency room. But if it's not an emergency or after your first emergency visit, the employer is supposed to give you the names of 2 doctors that you get to choose between those 2 doctors to go get your treatment for workers' comp. One of the things that's really concerning me is that a lot of employers are making the appointment for one of those doctors, taking the employee there, or telling the employee, here's the doctor, you need to go see this doctor, which implies that they have to go see that doctor and really doesn't give the employee the choice between 2 doctors. I'm not saying the employer is doing anything wrong, but when they set up the appointment and they insist that the employee go to the one doctor over the other, that really does take away the employee's right to choose. And of concern is there are certain doctors in town that are more employer favorable and others are more employee favorable. So if you happen to get directed by your employer to an employer favorable doctor, you may not get the care that you want or deserve.
Okay, so if this does happen to you and you get injured on the job and your employer only points you to the direction of one doctor, should you ask him for another option before you go, or should you go see this doctor and then come back and ask if there's another one that you can go to?
Well, preferably you will know this rule exists and ask for the choice of the 2 doctors so that you can make a choice before you go to either one. Once you start going to one, it becomes increasingly difficult to try to change to the other doctor. As a matter of fact, the last time that happened for me, the other doctor wouldn't see them until they reviewed all of the first doctor's records, which caused a delay of about 2 weeks in treatment. So before you see any doctor, try to get the choice. But if they don't give you that choice, you can decide later on to go see the other doctor or try to direct your own care. It's against the rules for them not to provide you the list. If they don't provide you the list within 7 days, they have effectively abandoned their right to direct treatment, and you can choose any doctor you want. So if this has happened to you, you're seeing one doctor, they've never given you the choice of 2, at any time you want, you can choose a doctor. Doesn't even have to be the second doctor. You get to direct your own treatment.
All righty, Greg, thanks so much. Very complicated issue, workman's comp. And if you've got questions, well, Greg has the answers for you. 263-GREG. Give him a call with your questions. His office is there at that address. Greg, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Stick around, everyone. We'll be right back with your full weather forecast right after this.
If you want Greg to answer one of your legal questions, visit krextv.com, click on Live in the Studio, and submit your question on the right side of the screen. Watch Greg's segment every Wednesday on News Channel 5 at noon.